Hello, everynyannnn!
Ever wondered how you can draw cute cats while making great financial gain from it? Well, you've come to the right video because I'm about to lay down the law of taking commissions. There are many steps and elements to taking on commissions, and a lot of times it's difficult to know where to start. At the bare basics, a commission is just two people exchanging things. Here is the Wikipedia definition, but in other words, someone with an idea will approach an artist to bring their concepts to life through the means of art. So how does one begin the process of taking commissions? Let's talk about that. And disclaimer, I'm using my own experience to explain this in the best way that I can, so I can't speak for any other artists out there besides myself. I've been taking commissions for a few years now, and these are just the tips, hints, and tricks that I've gathered over that time. This video is very information heavy, so to make it easier to understand and refer back to, I've broken it down into 3 main sections: finding your niche, making your commission sheet, and writing your terms of service. Step 1 is arguably the most important step, given it's the foundation for everything else. But take a moment to think, what is it that you enjoy drawing the most? What do you find yourself going back to time and time again because it's fun, exciting, and comfortable? Whatever that topic, subject, or medium may be, that's where you should start. Whether you've been drawing for years and have mastered a subject, or you're just starting out and wanting a head start on your career, your sweet spot will be the best place to start. So how do you figure out your sweet spot? For me, I've always taken great joy in drawing my own OCs and animals and sorts. Drawing Pokemon from a young age is what jump-started my love for animals and fantasy creatures. It's one of the things I have the most experience in, and due to this, I have a lot of art focusing around that subject. And I can comfortably show off this art, and I'm confident in my capabilities to draw other people's similar requests with ease. Throughout the years, I've also developed a specific style that is distinct to me and my brand. Many commissioners have stated that they were drawn to the uniqueness of my art. So spending some time developing your art style and finding what you're most comfortable doing is essential to branching out to an audience. For some, that's realism. For others, it may be a unique, bold, cartoon line style. And for others, it may even be sketchy art. Whatever the medium, your specific style is important because that's how others will recognize you. It's what makes your art unique to you, and those who are commissioning you will appreciate your work staying within that recognizable style. This will be elaborated on in the visual section. So once you've figured out where you're the most comfortable, joining communities and groups centered around this subject is definitely recommended, with caution, of course. If you make art centered around a specific subject, fandom, etc., now is the time to put yourself out there and find the communities that are right for you. Creating a few social medias are helpful in terms of reaching an audience. Or if you already have social medias, you can go in and update them to let your friends and followers know that you are taking on commissions or plan to soon. This will gauge interest. Joining art-related groups, finding hashtags related to your art, and joining Discord servers are another great way to expand your horizons. Even if you're not comfortable opening up commissions just yet, online communities and forums are one of the best places to follow other artists, make friends, post your own art, you know. Remember that there is no rush in this whatsoever. Things take time. Join a few and just hang out for a bit and get a feel of things first. So you found your niche and now you're ready to move on to the next step, a commission sheet. This is basically a breakdown of what you're offering art-wise. Ever wonder where to start when making a commission sheet? So did I at one point, and I literally avoided it for the longest time because it seemed really complicated and super overwhelming. It's actually not that bad once you know what to aim for. But thankfully, I now have a solid grasp on how the layout should go. Your commission sheet will have different sections depending on what you're most comfortable doing in terms of art. For this whole explanation, I'll be using my own commission sheets as an example, so yours may vary greatly from this. Commission sheets are typically broken down into 4 important aspects: the type of art that you're offering, visual examples, level of completion, and how you'd like to receive the payment. Starting off with the type of art that you're offering, try and figure out what you are willing to draw for others. This is where the step of finding your niche comes into play. Whether it's human, anthro, or feral, bodies are usually drawn categorized between headshots, busts, half bodies, and full bodies, which is shown split up on the screen. These are all priced differently because it takes more time and effort to complete a full body drawing versus just a little headshot. It also allows the commissioner to specify exactly what type of drawing they're wanting rather than just sending a reference sheet and hoping for the best. Anywho, for visual examples, you'll need to collect the art that represents the types of categories in art that you're offering. If you don't have a lot to go off of, don't worry, you can either make personal pieces over time, or you can take on commission examples requested of other characters to gather a bit of a portfolio. That's something I often see artists doing in online communities. Art trades are also another great way to build your portfolio. Be sure to stay consistent with your stylist and not confuse the client. Take the time to narrow down your style and be proud of it. Visuals are very important because it's usually what people will pay attention to first above everything else. This is where you need to show off your most confident and consistent art style, as it's likely what the commission will turn out to look like. I would avoid putting like a scenery alongside a chibi. They do not match one another, and it may give the client the impression that you're looking to do both, even if you're not. If you are looking to do various types and styles of commissions, I would highly recommend making separate sheets for each style as to not confuse the person viewing it. To re-emphasize, the style you choose for your commission sheet should be the one that you are most comfortable with and is unique to you. Oh, and take this with a grain of salt, but a serious hill that I'll die on is to not take commissions that you are uncomfortable taking. Please just save yourself the time, stress, and overall hassle of forcing yourself to draw something that you will dread. So make sure the art that you show on your commission sheet represents what you're willing to draw. Going hand in hand with visual examples is a clear explanation of your levels of completion. For example, with my feline commission sheet, I made a clear and distinct visual separation for my sketches, line work, flat colors, full colors, and painting style commissions. Similar to how headshots, busts, full bodies, etc. are broken down, these are also a factor in cost, and it takes much more time to complete an artwork with full shading and lighting versus a simple color fill. You by no means have to offer fully completed artwork, but if that is the case, then your sheet will need to explain that. And lastly, there should be an indication of how you'd like to receive payment. This also includes your preferred method of money transfer and the currency that you use. For me, I do all of my primary transactions through PayPal, but if I need, I will take Cash App and Venmo, and USD is clearly stated. I go into more specifics about this in my terms of service, which we'll talk about in just a moment. And to add on, be sure to have links to your social media so people can find you. If someone stumbles across your commission sheet rather than asking 20 questions in the DMs or comments, it's much easier if they have access to your social media accounts to view your art on and contact through. If you're not comfortable having a ton of social medias, an online portfolio might suit you best. Absolutely feel free to simplify this if needed. I offer a wide variety of options, so my commission sheet is quite complicated and packed full of information. But for someone with a more simple art style or less time on their hands, less information may be better. It's up to the individual artist to figure out what's best. Moving on to the next topic, something that is equally as important as having a legible and easily understood commission sheet is writing up your TOS. What exactly is a TOS, you may ask? TOS stands for Terms of Service, and it's a written agreement a client must read over before doing business with the artist that they're looking to commission. This document is important so the commissioner understands the rules and boundaries that the artist has set. It is a necessity so both parties are on the same page. It also protects you from mishaps and is a deterrent for scammers. I cannot emphasize enough how important this document is. Do not skip this step. Let's take a look at some of the things that I have in my personal TOS. Right up front and center, I have in bold letters stating that commissioning me in any way means the client is agreeing to the terms that I've written out. If you go the route of setting up your commission inquiries and consultations through Google Forms, you can set up a little checkbox for the person to cross off saying that they've read and accepted your TOS. But always be sure to double check with the person commissioning you that they have read over your rules. Another thing that's stated up top is that copying, tracing, turning my art into bases, etc. is a huge no-go. I am not comfortable with my work being used or exploited unless I am the one doing so, or I give specific permission to a close friend. If there are things that you are uncomfortable about or do not permit people to do with your completed artwork, now is the time to explain that. Don't feel bad about having rules. Moving a bit further down, speaking of things that could make you uncomfortable, please do not take commissions that you were uncomfortable taking. This is something I talked about just a little bit ago, but it absolutely needs to be addressed and revisited. One of the things highest up on my terms of service is that I have the right to refuse to draw anything that I am not comfy with. Make yourself a list of things that you are comfortable drawing, and then another list explaining the things that you are not comfortable drawing. Be sure that this is easily spottable and labeled correctly. For example, I am not confident or comfortable drawing humans. Because of that, I will not take any humanoid or human-adjacent commissions, and I have that clearly labeled in my will not draw section. I cannot express how important it is to not take on a commission you can't see yourself finishing. You as an artist have the autonomy to tell a client that this is not something you're willing to take on. You deserve the self-respect of not putting yourself through this scenario. It took me a while to learn, but sometimes you have to say no. And do not feel bad about having so many rules. They are meant to protect you and they are there for a reason. Jumping around a bit, make sure to go into more detail about payments. Commissions can't be complete without the second half of the equation, the money. Even though it should be in your commission sheet, you should restate your preferred method of payment along with the currency that you use. Currency holds different values in different countries. It's recommended to brush up on how to translate those. The client also needs to know if you use a currency from another part of the world to avoid confusion or potentially even over or underpaying an artist. This also eliminates the need to answer a bunch of questions. Also, state when the payment is needed so there's no confusion on either end. The client needs to know when and how you expect payments so there are no mishaps or surprises. Some artists require payment upfront, others will pay after or even during. Personally, I do not recommend to request the payment after the commission is complete unless it's from a close friend or someone who you really trust. Always keep an eye out for commission scams and red flags. If something feels wrong, trust your gut and always stay brushed up on common signs of bot accounts, scam tactics, and other nefarious art crimes. They are unfortunately quite common. Along with payment explanations, be sure to place an estimated turnaround time. The turnaround time is the amount of time you believe it will take to complete the commission. I always give myself a window of around 2 weeks, but my turnaround time changes depending on complexity as well as real-life events. The time may be longer for more detailed artwork, so it may be helpful to state this. Whatever the case is, being clear and upfront with your client is best. Another must-have, at least for me, is a written statement about clients providing reference sheets and other visual examples. Going off a visual is much less time-consuming than making up a character from scratch. For me, making a character off of a written description is a completely separate cost as it counts as a custom. All in all, your terms of service will take a while to figure out. There are so many instances and scenarios I could have never imagined would be necessary to write into a rule. But alas, people on the internet like to push buttons, and in order to protect yourself, clearly written rules and boundaries are a necessity. Once you have all of these things down and complete, your next step is to advertise. Advertising in itself could take up a whole nother video, so I'm going to briefly talk about a few ways you can consider getting the word out there. Short form media showing off your best work is a great way of capturing an audience. YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikToks, etc. They push your content out into an algorithm. Another method is uploading speed paints or live streaming your commission work. Patreon and other similar sites are also another great way to branch out to your followers and offer them special perks. I've recently started up a Patreon myself, so if you'd like to help me keep making art and videos, checking out would be a huge help. Enough shameless plugging, anywho. To leave off, I'd like to say that unless you are doing commissions full-time, they should never be stressful. Always remember that you as an artist should do what you love, and whether or not you take commissions doesn't determine your worth in the work that you make. Hopefully this helped to understand the steps of taking commissions a little bit easier, so have fun!